I'd like to conclude with 3 action points. Action points which will raise our state of consciousness. Action points to do with how we should be inside as a community, how we should deal with ourselves and with each other within, and then 3 action points how we should extend this out to those around us, to everything around us, to everyone around us. Because if we don't have the first 3 action points, we can't establish the other 3. The first action point is we need to have understanding of our religion. And by understanding of our religion, we need to devote ourselves and the totality of our being to really studying and pondering the life of the Prophet of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we need to go and take our knowledge from scholars, because whomever thinks can take his knowledge straight from a book is deluding himself. We need to take our knowledge from our scholars, because by doing this is the only way in order to become firmly established in understanding. We need to take our knowledge from scholars who have an unbroken chain going back all the way to the Prophet of God. We need to understand that we need to take this faith from scholars whose chain starts with them and ends with the Prophet of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A chain going back to the Prophet of God in what pertains to the narration of the text, in what pertains to the understanding of the sacred text, and in what pertains to the purification of the self in order to live that sacred text. And then we need people amongst the community who will give their lives from each city, from each locale, from each community, who will devote their lives to the acquisition of knowledge, who will go to Azhar in Egypt, who will go to the Sham, who will go to Hadramaut, who will go to Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayyah, in order to give themselves and devote their lives to learn this faith and come back to this community, come back to this land as people from this land coming back to serve the people of this land.
ونقطة بسيطة ننبه عليها هنا في أن الذين سيطلبون العلم في بلدانهم في بلدان العلم سيأخذون العلم بفهم ودراية، ثم إذا جاءوا يطبقون هنا يعرفون الفرق بين العلم كعلم وبين تطبيقه باختلاف بلاد عن بلاد وبيئة عن بيئة. هذا من روح الفقه في ديننا. ذكرت لهم الذين يأخذون أوقات قصيرة. نعم.
The thing I bypassed was, he said that those of us who can't devote their entire lives to the acquisition of knowledge because of their other commitments should devote some of their time by going to the Deen intensives, the intensive courses, in order to learn and in order to come back, in order to know how to practice, how to live it, how to take it to people practically, how to engage with it practically. The thing with the people who we've talked about, who will devote themselves to the acquisition of knowledge by going to the places of knowledge,
أن يفهموا الأحكام الشرعية ثم يفرقوا بين طريقة تطبيقها وإنزالها على الواقع في البلدان التي جاءوا منها وبين البلدان التي يذهبون إليها.
And those who devote themselves to the acquisition of knowledge have to distinguish between 2 things. They're going to Muslim lands and lands which are known for their heritage of scholarship, and then they're coming back to Britain and coming back to their country. When they come back, they need to distinguish between the knowledge they took and how they saw it implemented in the lands they took it, and the knowledge they took when they come back here, and how to implement it in this land, how to implement it in the different context.
عندكم مثل الشيخ عبد الحكيم مراد حفظه الله وانتر سبق إلى ذلك وله ممارسة. الصادق منكم صاحب الهمة هو الذي سيستطيع أن يصبر على التفهم منه والأخذ عنه لمعرفة ما تعلمه كيف يطبق في مثل هذا البلد.
People like Sheikh Abdul Hakim Winters already have the experience because they've done that. They've traveled, they've taken knowledge, they've come back here, and they've learned how to implement it in the context of here. Those of you who are honest will go and sit with people like him and have the patience to sit with people like him after their acquisition of knowledge in order to understand from people like him how to implement the knowledge you've come back with.
النقطة الثانية الاستقامة، وهي العمل بالعلم. مهما تعلمت إن لم يظهر علمك في سلوكك في خلوتك وفي أهل بيتك وفي جيرانك وفي من حواليك، إن لم يظهر نور العلم الذي أخذته وخلق العلم الذي أخذته في وقت غضبك وشهوتك وطمعك عندما تتحرك نفسك وتثور، إن لم يظهر هذا العلم عندما تتعامل مع من يخالفك بل مع عدوك الذي يعاديك، إن لم يظهر نور هذا العلم ليهديك كيف تتصرف، فلن تستطيع أن تفيد بهذا العلم أو أن تستفيد. فالاستقامة على هذا العلم. إذا سمعنا كما سمعنا اليوم أن إماطة الطريق عن الأذى، عن إماطة الأذى عن الطريق صدقة، تطبيق هذا العلم ليظهر النور في القلب. من مشى منكم في الشارع ورأى ورقة ملقاة ينحني ويأخذ هذه الورقة ويرميها في مكانها. انظروا كيف الفرق بين المسلم الذي ممكن وهو في السيارة يفتح الشباك ويرمي الورقة في الطريق إلا لو كان أمامه عسكري ممكن يدفعه غرامة، وبين المسلم الذي هو مسلم يعرف أن عبادته لله أن ينظف هو الطريق، هذا يقربه إلى الله. وتأملوا قال النبي صدقة، والصدقة معنى أن يبذل الأعلى للأدنى، صاحب الشيء الذي يملك للذي لا يملك. صدقة معناها عزة، حتى لا يتوهم أحدكم أنها ذلة أو ضعف. يقول تريدون نتحول إلى مكنسين الشوارع في بريطانيا؟ لا، هذه عزة يكرمنا الله تعالى بها، وهي أن نعامل الله بأن نحافظ على أرض الله التي نعيش فيها. هذا دين.
The second thing after the acquisition of knowledge is to have steadfastness in implementing this knowledge. To act upon this knowledge in your private moments, in your house, in the moments when your anger gets the better of you or wants to get the better of you, in the moments when your lower passions want to get the better of you, in the moments when your greed is riled up, in the moment when your greed is active, is engaged. In those moments, if your knowledge, if the light of the knowledge that you carry doesn't come forward and teach you and guide you as to how to act, then how can you benefit anyone else with this knowledge? And how you do this is by having steadfastness, by implementing practically that which you learn. If we just heard today that to remove obstacles from the way is a charity, as the Prophet ﷺ said, one of us should take this on board and understand that one of us shouldn't think of throwing something outside of the car window unless there's a policeman there who's going to find them. Rather, one of us shouldn't throw something out of the car window, because even to clean obstacles that people have thrown is in itself an act of charity for us and something by which we draw near to God. So how could we allow ourselves to even throw something? And by understanding this,
صدقة معنى الصدقة أنها الأعلى.
By understanding this, we should also understand that this doesn't mean that we should belittle. This isn't a form of belittlement or an abasement for us. You know, some people might walk away saying, this sheikh wants us to just go around and be the street cleaners of Britain. What you have to understand is the one who gives charity is the one who has, to the one who has not. So it's a position of strength to give something in charity. So this in itself, to be able to bend down and pick something up that someone else has thrown and put it in the bin, is an act of strength.
الذي لا يسمح برؤية ورقة تقذر شارع على الأرض هو الذي سيأتمنه الله عز وجل على سر ألا يسمح برؤية قذر في القلوب إلا وينظف هذه القلوب. الذي يريد أن يأتمنه الله على تنظيف القلوب هو الذي لا يحتمل رؤية القذر ولو حتى في الشارع.
The one who wouldn't be happy to see a piece of dirt thrown on the ground and will pick it up will be someone in whose hearts Allah will place a secret, which is the understanding of how to remove the obstacles which are in people's hearts.
النقطة الثالثة نقد الذات، أدب من آداب القرآن. هذا شيء داخلي فينا، بدونه لن نستطيع أن نتعامل مع غيرنا إذا لم نتعلم أدب. وما أبرئ نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء. دعونا نرتقي إلى مستوى نعيش فيه هذا المعنى. يفرح أحدنا إذا وجد من يقول أنت مخطئ في كذا، مجتمعك مخطئ في كذا، أنت بحاجة إلى تعديل كذا. يقول سيدنا عمر بن الخطاب رحم الله امرأ أهدى إلي عيوبي، سماها هدية، فينبغي أن يبحث كل منا أين العيوب التي عندي، ويعتبر أن هذه العيوب كما قال الإمام الغزالي مثالها مثال العقرب الذي دخل إلى الثوب، إن وجدت من ينبهك عليه ولو نبهك بغلظة أو بإساءة ترى له المنة لأنه أنقذك من لسع العقرب. وقال إن لسع العقرب هو غاية الأمر أن يؤلم الجسد يوما أو جمعة، لكن لسع عقارب الصفات التي تغضب الله ثمرته المخوفة أو نتيجته المخوفة أن يموت القلب. نسأل الله تعالى السلامة والعافية من ذلك.
The third point is the ability to have objective self-criticism. Self-criticism is something natural to the human being and something which the Quran stipulates or encourages. In the Quran says, narrating the story of the wife of the Aziz of Egypt, when she said, I do not claim myself as innocent. Truly, the self commands to evil, except the self that has been shown mercy by God. So we should have an ability to have self-criticism. We should like it when people show us the wrongs in our own self. Sayyidina Umar said, may Allah show mercy to a man or a woman, in this case, to a person. May God show mercy to a person who gives me the gift of showing me my own wrongs. A gift, he called it a gift, to be able to for someone to show me the wrongs in myself. And Imam Ghazali said, these wrong characters, these subtleties of bad character are like a scorpion that's entered one's pocket. But a scorpion can sting you and may harm the body or poison the body. But the scorpion we're talking about is a scorpion. The scorpion of bad character is a scorpion that can poison the heart.